Hello and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where we talk about books, writing, reading, D&D, and sometimes other things. I might be a little bit low energy because I'm recording this kind of super late at night, because I've been putting my stuff together for, like, a convention trip with my friends, and oh my goodness, is there a lot of junk that I gotta cart around. Also, I've lost my hairnet for my wig. I don't know where that sucker has gone. I am fully intending to spend a lot of tomorrow looking for it, but I cannot find it. I don't know where it is. This is very inconvenient. So anyways, I'll be suffering a little bit. Today I figured we could do a little, I don't know how long this video will end up being, because I figured so I got a printer, and I need somewhere to put said printer. The only option is on the edge of my desk, where I previously have had my enormous stack of books for this channel and also entertainment, and then also my file sorting system, which has mostly been letting me hoard a bunch of junk because that's what I do with my time. And looking through my hoard of junk, I found some stuff that I had previously written for either college writing or creative writing or any of the multiple creative writing classes I've taken. Oh no. Excuse me. These two, I think, are from Intro to Creative Writing. And I have some feedback from people that I had saved to edit this with, eventually, and then hadn't done it for forever. So I figured we could look into some of that now. Although some of them I might have taken into process. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying not to sleep. Okay, so in this opening paragraph, we have the battlefield was chaos. The screams of the dying and injured seemed to rend the sky with their agony. They threatened to drown out the noise of the armies that continued to clash, the harsh tones of metal on metal sweeping across the field. The scent of copper and sulfur rendered the noses of those on the field useless, their senses so overwhelmed that even their tongues could taste the blood of their fellow warriors. Their enemies had to be defeated, all of them, to the very last. I really don't like all those S's in that sentence now that I've read it out loud. The feedback I had from one of my reviewers was that we should be direct and not say seemed to. Which... Sorry, I can't stop yawning. I do agree with. And I feel like this might be a word. Just to double check, I'm spelling this right. To remove from place by violence. Okay, good. That is what I thought it was. And you say rent quite differently from rendered. So, because he had underlined rend and rendered because they sound the same, but if we say rent, that is quite a different noise. So then... we can just get rid of this. But this might need to be that. Yeah, that's what we need. We need a semicolon there, so that I don't have to hear so many S's in a row. The other one we had is that I kept calling this one dude a man, but now the issue is I think it might get confusing. Where is Solaris? A god bellowed over the cacophony of the battle around them, thrusting his hand-and-a-half sword into the air. His companion's answer was cut off by a strike of lightning that sprung from the sword. turning 5 of the shadow-wreathed creatures attacking them to ash. The few left edged back in fear of the god before them, unwilling to risk their deaths in such an unbalanced fight. The god growled in frustration, turning his heavy bronze eyes upon the god next to him, demanding an answer with his gaze alone. Yes, using the god makes this very confusing. He's on his way, my lord. I'm gonna put his fellow. The fellow warrior stuttered, looking up at the sky. His baby blue eyes darkening as he concentrated. The sky god offered him a thin smile, his thick brows furrowed. His golden armor marked him as a member of the Pantheon, a target for the stronger demons. One such demon approached, its true form visible through the dark mist that surrounded it. It was tall, taller than the sky god by at least a head, with dark purple, leathery skin and a lighter purple underbelly. It had glowing red eyes and horns shaped like a ram's that curled above its pointed ears. The blue-eyed god quickly moved forwards to engage it, calling back to the sky god, "My lord, Solaris is here." The demon lunged for the small god, its dagger-like talons dripping a steaming liquid that killed the grass beneath their feet as it landed. The blue-eyed god quickly blocked the attack with his rapier, but gasped in despair as the blade was corroded by the powerful acid. He continued in a louder voice, "You must take him to the entrance, my lord. It's the only way it will succeed." "Live, Polanus," the bronze-eyed god ordered before he vanished, a streak of lightning speeding away from his location, the only hint as to his whereabouts. Polanus smiled weakly. "Yes, my lord." The demon across him grinned as it leaned forwards, placing its horns closer to Polanus. Between the points of its horn, that needs to be plural. A ball of dark purple energy began to form as it laughed mockingly. "Live? You can certainly try, little godling." Oh, this sounds so corny. I was fully in my bleach phase. No, I was actually out of it. Rodham raced across the battlefield as a streak of lightning, desperately searching for Solaris. Without the sun god, they wouldn't win. They'd be doomed to an eternal fight, or worse, the demons would win and their world would be engulfed in darkness. Solaris was the only one who could activate the seal, his light pushing back the encroaching darkness. They needed to release the territories that the demons had already taken from the grips of their miasma, a substance that warped the creatures and the land that it touched. They had a duty to their worshippers and to their world to set it right. In the distance, over the heads of the thousands of soldiers fighting, Rodham could spy explosions of light, the silent pressure that flattened 50 demons. That's supposed to be to the ground. To the ground in a circle and held them there, exerting more and more force upon them. The light intensified, glowing white-hot without heat, and the demons it held crumbled to black ash within its tendrils. He had finally found him, Solaris. Rodham grinned wildly and moved forward, relieved beyond measure that the sun god had arrived. "Solaris," he bellowed, desperate to attract the other god's attention. Okay, so here my comment says sloppy, because I am not describing why. I am just telling, not showing. Let's see. Solaris's face was still turned away. There was no response. Okay, he had to get closer, all would be lost. A demon stepped in his path. Well, yeah, we don't need this weird sidebar. Its grin stretching across its blue face to reveal pointed and twisted fangs. It seemed confident for one of such little power. With a feral growl, Ronham grabbed its face in his large hand, fingers sparking before releasing a bolt of lightning directly into the dark creature. With a screeching wail, the demon spasmed before going limp, its charred husk easily tossed to the side. That needs a comma. Leaving the scent of burnt meat upon the air. The sky god forced his way forwards, cutting down the demons that swarmed him left and right, hewing their bodies apart with each swing of his great arm, splattering his armor with black blood. As he grew closer, a gentle light fell over his body, illuminating his golden armor so it shone like the sun god before him. And my friend marked that he loved this next paragraph. Ronham, Solaris sighed in relief, brushing the back of his free hand across the sky god's well-protected bicep. He looked weary, his tan skin a shade paler at a closer look, and his golden eyes dulled to a shiny yellow. The sun god smiled faintly. Do not look so concerned, Ronham. The demons know that I am the main component of the seal. If they kill me, they believe that they will be able to roam free forever. I shall protect you then, until we reach Zareth, Ronham intoned, nodding his helmeted head to himself to punctuate the declaration. Solaris offered the other god a smile, white teeth glinting as Ronham basked in the warmth that Solaris emitted, soothed and energized at once. He had a moment, just the barest thought, where he felt guilty for making the young god bear the weight of the world. At least he could make up for it in a small manner. He would ensure the sun god's health in this battle, and all the other battles to come. The ground quaked, sending the two gods stumbling, Solaris's left leg collapsing under him. Ronham reacted quickly, reaching out to steady Solaris, holding the younger god's elbow until the ground stopped moving. In the center of the battlefield, a crater the size of 10 of their steeds had been made. The great demon lord Zareth had arrived to the field. What do you want from me? No, it's to the... Inky black wings as far across as a lake stretched across the sky, blocking out the sun and sending the combatants into darkness. Zareth, his giant body hidden in the shadow of his wings, was only discernible by the gray-silver energies that thrummed over his figure, bringing flashes of light to the sunless area. His red eyes glared between the apex of his wings, chilling even his most loyal followers. This was the creature they had to defeat. Did I just accidentally make Zareth Mothman for a second? Oh my, I really am losing it. Solaris gulped before flaring his light in response, the sun god banishing Zareth's darkness from his fellow gods and warriors, chasing away the miasma that aided them, soothing their hurts instead. Zareth's great face stared down at him, a calculating gleam to his ruby eyes, before a massive dark hand the color of the night sky reached for him. Ronham hurriedly stepped in front of him, releasing a bolt of lightning into the hand of the demon lord. An echoing roar emerged from the being's throat, his hand burnt and charred, smoke that smelled of rotten fruit hanging in the air. With a flick of his wrist, the demon lord sent Ronham flying, the sky god crashing to the ground 7 steeds away. Solaris started to take a step forward to check on his companion. Halt, Solaris. The command made him freeze in his spot, head snapping to where Ronham had fallen. The god had pushed himself up and continued. Have we learned nothing? This is the time, Solaris. The seal must be completed. Solaris offered a nod, jumping back as the hand of the demon lord snapped closed where he just was. He pushed his hands together, closing his eyes and clenching his jaw before letting his aura loose. We really don't need this sidebar here either. It's entirely useless description. A searing white light burst from the sun god, spreading over the battlefield, causing many of the combatants to cringe away from the painful brightness. Zareth roared in agony as the light hit him, shrinking down a few arms' length in size. Then the rest of the gods who made up the seal joined in. Pink, blue, green, orange, all blending together to create intertwined beams of color that pushed against the broad stature of the most powerful demon in the world. Zareth flapped his wings in defiance, stamping his clawed feet on the ground so that it shook once more, and those around him were forced back a steed. Were forced off of their feet. His resistance was in vain. Slowly, ever so slowly, the great demon lord Zareth was forced to change shape, from a gargantuan demon to a giant crow to a lion of shadows to his unenhanced appearance. A pure black demon thrumming with silver-gray magical energy, a head taller than one of the divine steeds in service of the pantheon. His horns, a hand around in width, with ridged sections of white bone a handspan long, continued in a long arc, longer than Solaris's arm. With a screech echoed by his army of fiends, Zareth was forced back by a wave of light, one that collected every evil creature on the field of battle, forcing them back into a cave that they had prepared heavily for this day. The demons vanished into the darkness, the gate slammed shut, glowing brightly even in the renewed sunlight. Solaris collapsed to his knees, panting. He had done it. They had done it. The world was safe for another 1,000 years. I remember my intentions when I was writing this. The reason there's like weird units of measurement is because I was really getting into the universe and I didn't want to break like the immersion by using like miles or feet. So it's just like, we're just gonna measure with horses. Oh boy, I am a wackadoodle, aren't I? Okay, I'm taking a drink. Okay. Well, this is a little piece that I wrote, freshman year of college, for my Intro to Creative Writing course, to give myself a good idea as to the way that the gods resolved the demon issue in my campaign. And then next we have The Dragon's Guide to Becoming a Benevolent Overlord, which I have a few pieces of feedback on, so I think I'm gonna look for the one that offers the most criticism, which was kind of a funny one to submit to my group, because for Intro to Creative Writing, there was such a mix of people who were writing, whatever, that I ended up in a class with like 0 people who understood D&D except for one dude, and then like another guy who sometimes wrote fantasy, and then that was it. So yeah, a lot of people were confused. And this was our end of the year assignment, where I think we were supposed to be picking something unusual to write, and I decided to go with writing a magazine article about dragons. So this is A Dragon's Guide to Becoming a Benevolent Overlord, 10 Steps to Follow to Greatness, by Liston the Wise, Green Dragon of the West. Pick the race you want to subdue. There's no need to be cliché. Not everyone has to rule over humans. Dwarves were the right pick for me. They're always mining gems to bring me as tribute. They learn so quickly. I only had to eat 1 or 2 for them to get the point. The wood elves were so very accommodating. I only had to burn 10 trees or so for them to behave. Now they're happy to wash my scales and bring me berries. Now Tom from the mines of Andrakar, and Ashvan from the eastern forest of Tiamar. Now, every dragon has heard from their drakes and dams about how they used to rule a village of humans, or how their human worshippers were so thoughtful and cute. When we were young, we all wanted to be that dragon, the one with so many human subjects that would attend to every whim. However, we've been neglecting the potential of the other races to be great subjects. This new era is all about inclusion, dragons. We can't fall into the habit of favoring one race over the rest. They all deserve their own benevolent dragon overlord. With so many races to choose from, you should be able to find one that suits your preferences, whether they be material or not. Number 2. Pick the town that fits your needs. It doesn't always have to be a large farming village, but if you've got a big appetite, that's sure to help. I ended up conquering the kingdom of Alfor and becoming the Dragon King of the West Coast, King Harinor from the west coast of Rester. I'm a vegetarian, so I conquered a vineyard. Stop by the Green Dragon Brewery for all your luxury wines. Steph from the Green Dragon Fields. Every dragon deserves to find the right place in which to be happy. Whether you lust after some hot springs or a frigid igloo to rule, follow your instincts to happiness. Ignore all of your soon-to-be subjects' complaints. They will adjust quickly enough. However, before you conquer your new home, make sure that you can live there. For example, fire dragons would be exceedingly uncomfortable in an icy climate, and lightning dragons will have a rough time of it in places with constant rain. You don't want to take a place over, then leave all your cute little subjects behind in confusion. Number 3. Make a big entrance. Roar, flap your wings a lot. Maybe shoot a bolt of fire if you're feeling playful. I can't shoot fire, but I can breathe ice. And yes, I believe that is the wrong breathe. I froze over their water supply to show them how powerful I was. It worked like a charm. Killian from the lakes of Arnor. Some of the gnomes were so overwhelmed by my awesome roar and bolt of lightning that they fainted. Genil from the coast of Horate. Now, not all dragons want to be intimidating. We can't all be those giant fireball-hurling lizards that everyone tells stories about. I get it. But, for some reason, not all our future subjects seem to understand our superiority unless we make a big splash when we first arrive. Maybe it's the primal part of their brain that only recognizes their true overlords through fear. We may never know. The mortals are enigmas. So try your hardest to be scary. It is better to ask for forgiveness than for permission, after all. Number 4. Gather up all your soon-to-be subjects for the big speech. Preferably in a circle, but if you like another shape more, feel free to be unique. I hate circles. The humans in the middle are so hard to spot, especially since they always put the younglings there. I want to look at the cute little humans. Liathna, the Cliffs of Tarion. I organized my halflings into a rhombus, much more pleasing to look at, and it made them easier to keep track of. Jorg from the Valley of Rembrire. Now, some dragons feel that a big speech is unnecessary. I had a friend a few years back who insisted the humans he conquered would eventually catch on. They never did, and his constant reprimands with no explanations drove a few to run away, and a couple of the young ones, they're only 80, why are they gray, just dropped dead. The healer humans said that their heart attacked them. Obviously, the whole ignoring the speech didn't really work out for him. He just stretched himself and his little subjects unnecessarily. Number 5. Make your demands, whether it's gems, livestock, or even a princess of your own. We're trying to avoid cliches here, people. Followed by a demonstration of your most fearsome attack as incentive. Try a way to aim away from their homes and fields. You won't have any subjects if you destroy their habitats and livelihoods. The dwarves looked so surprised when I ordered them to bring me casks of ale every week. Dragons don't always have to be stereotypical, you know. Pete from the Kingdom of Efter. After I made a 50-foot gouge in the ground with my lightning breath, the humans were suddenly more than happy to bring me my jewels. Treln from the village of Hanover. Now, when I first gained subjects, I just wanted to make it easy on them. I asked for a few locks of everyone's hair once a month. I was actually knitting a rather nice rug to help me monitor their welfare with some carefully applied spells. Within a month, the entire village had tried to kill me 15 times. I learned that it is necessary to make vaguely unreasonable demands, even if you don't actually want the stuff, in order to keep your cute little mortals calm. Otherwise, they go off the deep end and think that you're a weak overlord instead of the merciful, non-stereotypical dragon that you are. Number 6. Now, remember, most races, except elves, breed pretty regularly. In order to avoid being overthrown by sheer numbers, demand a few virgins every year. This way the population will stay down and you can either eat or enslave them as you like. Virgins are so bland. I always just take those of breeding age. I can't catch those weird viruses the humans always seem to have anyways. Hera from the fields of Granin. Elves are less troublesome than the other races. It's always nice to not need to be concerned about my subjects suddenly having a sharp rise in their population. Jess, from the Northwoods of Dantes. If you are a relaxed dragon that doesn't feel like having to take part in population control, I'd advise that you take on some elves. Otherwise, you'll want to make sure that your village stays at numbers that are easily subdued. Eat any dissenters, let some younglings be hatched, and set a number of breeding age citizens to eat each year. Number 7. If heroes come to free the people, make sure that you look particularly intimidating when you go down to meet them. Shine your scales, clean your teeth, make sure those pesky flecks of blood are out from under your claws. Why would heroes want to free the human beings? Dragon overlords are the best overlords. Lilac from the beaches of Jornt. After I perfected my grooming routine, the heroes began to run away at the first sight of me. Wevrin from the caves of Runeforth. If you're interested in Wevrin's beauty routine, please see page 6. For some reason, heroes seem to think that a bloody dragon would be easier to defeat. You'd think those silly little mortals would know by now that a bloody dragon is even more dangerous. But for those who don't want to eat the heroes in their armor, I never do, too many heavy metals upset my stomach, this tactic should work nicely. If they don't run away, or you're pleasantly full, or just a picky eater, try step number 9. Now, my friend did note that I did not consistently call back to this, so I will just get rid of that sentence. Number 8. If you decide to be merciful and give the heroes a chance to run away, sear their backsides with some fire, or lightning, etc. It's surprisingly difficult to control the strength of your breath attacks. Inexperienced dragons may want to wait to perfect their control first. Trish, from the Mountain of Hearth. The first heroes that I did this to attracted more and more heroes to my village, and now I won't have to worry about food shortages in the winter. Gleneth, from the Plains of Avalor. This way, the heroes won't be tempted to return, if they are as smart as a cow at least. Sometimes heroes are less intelligent than cows, and you really just have to take a deep breath, steel yourself, and eat them. But for the ones smart enough to run away, make sure you stay vigilant for other heroes who try to take up the failed quest. If the heroes return, lure them up to your cave and eat them. You don't want any of your precious subjects to get ideas. I found crunching down the heroes, armor and all, in front of my subjects to cause them to faint or be sick. Humans are so delicate. Kelly, from the ruins of Gorlath. The heroes were very easy to subdue. Instead of eating them, I just added them to my subjects. Now I can advertise my kingdom as one with diversity. My population is 90% human and 10% other now. Ural, from the shores of Bresden. If you're soft-hearted like Ural, perhaps persuade the heroes to provide some diversity to your settlement. Otherwise, they may inspire your... I have a good point here. Somebody said, I don't know if calling them cute fits, because it's implied. Otherwise, they may inspire your little citizens to rise up against you. If you don't want a rebellious home, either eat the heroes far away so you don't distress your mortals overly much, or turn the heroes to your way of thinking. 10. Be kind to your little mortals, but don't get too attached. They don't live long, and you'll always have to kill 1 or 2 every year to make a point. Sorry, my one friend just points down and says bad at millennia. Raising entire villages was so last millennia. My subjects are still grateful that I didn't eradicate them when I came last decade. Mijian, from the south coast of Noth. My squishes are so much happier to obey when I'm kind to them. They used to run screaming, but now the smaller squishes want to ride. Floor, from the inlet of Setsun. Mortals are notoriously short-lived. They're the fastest to die out of any other creatures I know. Even the demons live longer. But that's what makes them so interesting to rule over. Always running around, never having any sort of direction, they're all too short lives. It makes one certain that they were made to be ruled over. And having a benevolent dragon overlord like all of you reading this would be the highest honor a mortal could have. My friend points to this and says maybe I mean humans. Because, to be fair, elves are longer lived, as are some other ones that aren't humans. And this is a good point. So I think I'm going to say humans. And then this will say any mortal could have. And then we need to push, there we go, okay. And then we have, okay. And then we have A Dragon's Routine for Terrifying Visitors by Wyvern Gold Dragon from the Caves of Runeforth. Feeling nervous about those heroes approaching your doorstep? Fear no longer. Wyvern, one of the Draconic world's biggest fashion gurus, is here to share her priceless information with you, dear readers. Read closely to get that perfect look that's sure to frighten away heroes. Number 1. A product that I always feel is great for moistening scales that have spent too much time in the sun is Phoenix Tears, a trademark brand that in no way mistreats phoenixes for the making of its products. They make a ton of great products, but the one that I find works the best on my scales is called Scale Soother, a paste for dried out scales. This is made with all natural ingredients and returns the scales to their natural glistening beauty once more. It costs 120 rubies if you're willing to go pick it up, and 160 rubies if you request delivery by Eagle. It's a steal. Number 2. After I restore my golden scales to their usual hue, I often find myself wishing for them to look more like gold. The metallic tone isn't quite the same without this product that I love, Moonstone Scale Shiner, a liquid used on scales to return their luster and make them shine more than usual. It's perfect to make those pesky heroes squint if you stand at the right angle in the sun. This costs 80 sapphire with delivery included, 100 if you want express delivery. I think that should be 80 sapphires. Number 3. My one friend has pointed out that they think this first sentence is too long. Okay. Sometimes I find myself with a scale that has had the top layer of bright gold scraped off, either by trees or by stray arrows from my little mortals, and I desperately need to fix it. I can't go out with a discolored scale. Another product made by Phoenix Tears, Glisten Scale Solution, is an expertly created scale dye that keys to your magic to match your scales perfectly. Once I paint a fine layer over my scale, it is perfectly disguised. This brilliant solution costs 200 gold bars to be delivered right to your nest by eagles. Number 4. Then I check for missing or chipped scales. I can't afford to have my underbelly exposed. For those, I use Macally's Scale Regrowth Tonic, which regrows chipped scales in half a day and grows new ones in 3. I haven't found any other product that is as fast or as comfortable to use. The other ones that I've tried have left me itching and sometimes even in pain. This tonic will put you back 1,700 gold bars and comes with free claw trimmers. Number 5. If I'm satisfied with my scales, I'm moved on to trimming and cleaning my claws. I despise the feeling of blood under my claw tips, so I work very hard to keep them clean. And somebody points out that I can just make this part of the first point, and I do agree with that. Okay. A product that helps with that is Harkson's Flesh Dissolver, which, when applied to dragon skin, will burn away anything that isn't draconic. This costs 81 pewter cups. Number 6, then I clean my teeth, making sure they are as white as they can be. The product that I use is called Teeth Cleaning Solution for the Everyday Mortal. I did try to use this on a mortal once. Please do not give this to mortals. However, this handy solution ensures that my teeth are bone white and ready to crunch anyone stupid enough to get fried. This product costs 15 gold, including shipping. For the unusual hoarder, the sellers of these products are willing to negotiate terms if you do not hoard gold or gems. Rereading that was fun. I did enjoy writing this just a lot. It was so much fun. Most people in my class got a kick out of it, and I intentionally tried to make it less lore heavy and involved, as I knew that most of our class didn't understand most fantasy tropes. So I tried to just go with more broad fantasy tropes, or just things that I thought were funny, because I have a very dry sense of humor. So I hope you guys had fun doing a little bit of editing with me, seeing some of my older works. I'm more happy with The Dragon's Guide to Becoming a Benevolent Overlord than I am with The Sealing of Zareth, but that's kind of how it goes with this type of writing. A Dragon's Guide is more of a very unusual way of writing for me, so I do see some things that I want to update, but not a ton, whereas for The Sealing of Zareth, I look at it and I'm just like, I don't know how much I like this and how much I don't like it. Anyways, if you have any thoughts, if you have any additional suggestions, if you have any old things that you've written that you want me to read that you think could be improved by me reading them, I would love to see them. Send them to my email. And beyond that, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend and are mildly productive, or just have a very nice time over it. I'm very ready to head to bed now, and that is Scholastically Natalie, out.